The Secret of the Hidden Scrolls, Book 2, Race for the Ark, Chapter 4, The Troublemakers. Grrr, Hank growled at the wolf. Grrr, the wolf growled at Hank. The gray wolf was bigger than Hank, but Hank didn't back down. A boy tugged a long chain around the wolf's neck. Sit, Shadow. The wolf sat, but he still growled through his sharp fangs. Peter grabbed Hank's collar. Stay back, Hank. Well, what do we have here? Said the boy. He walked around them. It looks like we have strangers. Another boy joined them. Peter gulped. He was much bigger than Peter. Yeah, strangers, the boy grunted. Be quiet, Darfus, said the first boy. I wasn't asking you. Yes, Jakar, mumbled Darfus. Sorry, Jakar. Now, where was I? Before I was so rudely interrupted, Jakar pushed Darfus aside. Strangers, mumbled Darfus. Yes, strangers, said Jakar, and we don't like strangers. We were just trying to find some food, said Peter. I don't care. Jakar picked up a banana from the table, peeled it, and took a big bite. Mary put her hands on her hips like she always did when she was getting ready to boss somebody around. You just stole that! So what, said Jakar. I can do whatever I want. He picked up an apple from a basket and threw it to Shadow. The wolf swallowed it in one bite. Who are you? Demanded Jakar. My name is Peter, and this is my sister Mary, said Peter. He tried to sound brave. Why are you wearing those funny clothes? Said Jakar. Darfus pointed at their clothes and laughed. Peter felt his face turning red. It's what we wear where we come from. Where's that? Jakar's voice was getting louder and more impatient. We come from the few... Mary kicked Peter before he could finish saying future. Peter rubbed his shin. Mary's karate lessons were really working. We came from far away, said Mary. She turned and gave Peter the look. Where exactly, said Jakar. We can't tell you, said Mary. Jakar pointed a finger at her face. You better tell me. Hank ran between them with his teeth showing. Jakar let out a loud laugh. You think your tiny wolf can protect you? Shadow ran up to Hank and growled. Hank stood his ground and growled back. Hank's a lot tougher than you think, said Peter, and he's much smarter than your wolf. Really, said Jakar? Then maybe I will take him. No, you can't have him, shouted Peter. Jakar pointed at Hank. Get him. Darfus yanked a net out of his bag and threw it over Hank. He pulled it tight so Hank couldn't get away. Now give me that leather bag, said Jakar with a wicked smile. No, Peter unzipped the bag. His hands shook as he pulled out the hatchet. Jakar laughed. What are you going to do with that little thing? Peter ran to Hank and swung the hatchet down to the ground. He chopped 3 times and cut open the net. Run, he shouted. Hank took off like a lightning bolt. Jakar let go of Shadow's chain. Get him. Hank charged into the food shop with Shadow on his tail. He darted under a table and between some pots full of flowers. Shadow knocked over the table and the pots. Flowers flew everywhere. My flowers! Cried the lady in purple. Hank headed toward one of the wooden posts that was holding up the roof of the food shop. Shadow was right behind him. Hank ran in circles around the post. Shadow chased him around and around. Shadow's chain wrapped tighter and tighter around the post. Clank! The chain pulled tight and yanked Shadow back. Hank, run for the woods, shouted Peter. Shadow growled and tugged, but he couldn't get free. Peter grinned. I told you Hank was smart. He put his hatchet in the bag. Darfus, get the bag while I unwrap the chain. Jakar ran to Shadow. No problem, Darfus smiled. He walked toward Peter and reached for the bag. Peter gave Mary a thumbs up. She ran straight at Darfus. She jumped in the air and aimed a spinning kick at his belly. Darfus fell back and rolled against the dusty ground. Peter picked up the bag. Let's get out of here. He and Mary ran toward the gate. Peter took one last look backwards. He gasped. Shadow was loose. Hurry, Mary! Peter grabbed Mary's hand and dashed through the crowd. Shadow, Jakar, and Darfus were close behind. Peter could almost smell their breath, especially Shadow's. Suddenly, a strong wind blew through the city. Dust filled the air, and everyone covered their eyes. There's the gate! Mary was breathing hard. Peter pulled her through the gate. The wind blew harder. There they are, shouted Jakar. Peter turned to look. Jakar was still inside the wall. Get them, Jakar said. Shadow and Darfus ran toward the gate. Another huge gust of wind blew. The gate slammed shut. You can run, but you can't hide, Jakar shouted. We'll find you. Peter and Mary kept running until they were out of sight. Mary wiped the dust from her eyes and said, that was close. Good karate kick back there, said Peter. Mary winked at him. Good idea to use the hatchet. Woof, barked Hank. Peter looked up the hill and saw Hank standing at the edge of the woods. Someone was with him. "Who's that?" asked Mary. Peter wiped his face with his sleeve. "I can't tell with all this dust in my eyes." "Let's go find out."